Greetings, I'm Lachlan Grant, and this is Essential Guitar Theory for those who can play but can't read music. Today we're going to look at the song Shampoo Bottle by Peach Pit. I've written a few notes here, let's have a look. So I looked up the song on Guitar Pro, found the chords, easiest way to do it. And basically this is a format that I use to work out what's going on in a song. It's called song analysis. In my last video you might have seen the Roman numerals and I explained why we use those, but basically they're the numbers that represent each scale degree. This song, Shampoo Bottle, is in the key of E flat. So what I've done is I've drawn the E flat major scale in accordance with the scale degrees, those Roman numerals. So from there, basically we can start to work out which chords will be used. Now, our major scale pattern, tone, tone, semitone, tone, 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 semitone. Basically, a semitone being 1 fret, tone being 2 frets. So our E flat major scale, we come up here to E flat, play the major scale. That's your tone, tone, semitone, tone, 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 semitone. Alright, that then leads us on to intervals, which they are intervals basically, a semitone being 1 fret. So the interval is the distance between the two notes. We commonly call that, a fret. So a semitone is 1 fret, a tone is 2 semitones. That means a tone is 2 frets. The next one is called a minor third. That's 3 semitones, 3 frets. Then a major third, which is 4 semitones, 4 frets. And then we have a perfect fifth, which is, well, that's wrong, sorry. It's actually 7. It would be cool if it was just 5 and it made all that sense, but it's not quite like that. All right. And so there's a lot of, well, not a lot. There's a few little things you need to commit to memory if you want to get your head around this music theory stuff. You don't need to learn it all. There are shortcuts, and that's what I've discovered, and I want to share them with people. That's why I'm making these videos. So with these intervals, we can then go on to build chords. You've probably seen major chords, minor chords. Well, they have different sounds, and it's the intervals that determine those sounds. So a major chord, that has a major third, and then a minor third on top. So that would be a major third, and then your minor third. It would all add up to 7 semitones, but having that major third at the beginning alters the sound. If we have a minor chord, then we have a minor third, and then a major third. So it's the minor third that comes first. Commonly in music we think of a minor chord has a flattened third. I don't want to get you too confused by saying that right now, because when we talk about that kind of stuff, we're actually going off into different keys, and I'm trying to consolidate this into all you need to know. So from there, we can then look, we have a rule here, chord triad, which is simply 3 notes that make up the chord. All right, 1, 3, and 5. That all links back up to here, our scale degrees. Scale degree 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 1 again. So if we need 1, 3, and 5 to build a chord, we can basically build a chord from any single one of these scale degrees, and we've got the notes we need. So we say we build a chord on chord 1, the tonic. Okay, number 1 is E flat, there it is. Number 3 is G. Number 5 is B flat. So E flat, G, B flat. They're the 3 notes that make up the E flat major chord, which is that standard bar chord there, E flat. There's your B flat. There's another E flat. And then down here we have our G, the third. Can also play it up here. Alright, just to demonstrate this stuff, so it being a major chord, let's just look at that. So E flat to G. If it's a major chord, it's got to be a major third, so that should be 4 semitones. So let's find E flat, which is here on the 6th fret of the A string. I'm going to count, and there's 1, 2, 3, 4. That, my friends, is a G note, so it works. E flat to G. Alright, then the next interval, G to B flat. Okay, so it's got to be a minor third. So let's count it. What's a minor third? It says 3 semitones. So from G we go 1, 2, 3. Look at that. That's a B flat. So it works. It's a slow way, but it works. It's easy. You simply just count, add together the intervals. Trust me, you won't need to do that for very long. You will see patterns everywhere, and it will get quite exciting for you. Let's do that again on chord 2. Let's do an example with a minor chord now. So chord 2, scale degree 2, F. Alright, so let's take, it's number 1 in terms of F, so F, 3 in terms of F, F, A flat, and then 5 in terms of F, C. So F, A flat, C. Let's count the semitones. Let's check what interval that is. From F to A flat. We can use our F down here on the 1st fret. Let's count it. It should be the minor third being 3 semitones. Let's look. There's 1, 2, 3. And yes, that's our A flat on the 4th fret there. Next interval, for it to be a minor chord, it must have a major third next. So A flat to C. A major third needs to be 4 semitones, 4 frets. So let's have a look. From A flat, we're already there. Let's count. 1, 2, 3, 4. Brilliant. That's C. We're good to go. It's an F minor chord. And the last one down there is for an example for you. The dominant, the 5th, the B flat major. All right. That's enough of the gritty theory. Let's look at the song. So back to this, let's go to this whiteboard. Now, I haven't actually drawn in which one's a major or minor, because I thought we'd do our little exercise of, to be honest, I should just write them in because they're already on the board. I've given it away, so, all right, let's just put them in. Now, how we know that is simply, it's a rule through every major scale. That's why we draw these Roman numerals like this. The big capital ones are major chords, 1, 4, and 5, and the rest, 2, 3, 6, are minor, 7 being diminished. We're not going to worry too much about that. Just think of that as like a depressed, super sad, super minor, just extra minor. If you want to really know, it's 2 minor thirds built on top of each other. So, yeah, it's got a pretty cool sound, but it's got to resolve. You've got to know what you're doing to use that stuff. All right, so if we're in the key of E flat, then theoretically these are all the chords that should be used. But I can already see something sticking out like a sore thumb. I wonder if anyone can too. I hope so. Basically, we want to look through. I got all these chords just off Guitar Pro, like any of you would have. I could sit there and listen to them and work them out, but why would I do that if I can just search it online? I prefer to spend time working out more of the theoretical concepts behind the song and what makes the song good, so I can then use those techniques in my own songwriting. And I like to create loops too, which I'm going to do shortly, out of songs that I like, and practice my own improvisation, my own solos over top. All right, I got a bit sidetracked there, but anyway, let's get back to this. So the verse E flat, C minor, G minor, A flat, E flat. Yep, they're all up here. Then second time around I go E flat, C minor, G minor, A flat, or F7. What on earth is that? The scale tells me it should be an F minor. What even is F7? Well, it's an F dominant seventh, alright? What Peach Pit have done here is they've altered one of the chords. They're using a chord that doesn't belong to the scale, and this is a groovy little trick that a lot of songwriters do. They're breaking the rules. How cool. So if that's usually an F minor, I did that example down here, F, A flat, C, F minor, then what on earth could be making this F dominant 7, which is like a major chord with a flattened 7th on the end? I'll show you what it sounds like. It's like this. You can also do it here. Oh, that one's probably better. Yeah, I like that one. Or there. If it's F, A flat, C, that makes the F minor chord. Then F7, if it's a major, then it must have an A natural, because that would mean that has to be a major third there. A major third. So therefore they're using an A natural, not an A flat. In the key of the song is an A flat. But for this chord, they're using a note that's outside the scale. It's an A natural. But what else is very exciting, and what I really like, is the 7th. An F dominant 7th, right? That has that note in that, I'll just tell you, it's an E flat, alright? I was playing it before. Alright, the E flat, that note. It's the 7th of the scale. If that was the F scale written there, number 7 would be an E flat. That means that 7th note is an E flat. And if you look, the song's in E flat, so that's cool. That's why they've used it. That's why it works. That's why it doesn't sound so outside to our ears, because that added note, that E flat, kind of works in line with all these other chords. It's just that one A natural note. It sticks out. We notice it. If we look at some of the lyrics, there's a bit of word painting going on. Like, I think one of the lines is talking about this girl hasn't come around in weeks or something. Like, he's getting stressed. You haven't come around in weeks, man. So that means that there's stress, there's turmoil. Like, so therefore, it's a good idea to take a note from outside the scale, because that's going to cause the same kind of like anxiety in the listener, because they're going to be like, what the hell is that? What is that note? That's outside. It doesn't quite work. But then they bring it back around and it kind of resolves. So the verse, the pre-chorus, all right, and the very end of the pre-chorus is like a hold, and that F7 comes back again before we hit the chorus. All right, I'm going to show you a couple of scales that we can use to improvise over this song by Peach Pit. So because in the key of E flat major, our relative minor is chord 6. All right, that's this one. Same in every key. That's C. So C minor. Some of you might have heard of the minor pentatonic. All right, that's good if you have. We're going to sort of look at that now. So when a song is when we've deciphered that it's in E flat major, we can then approach a solo using the minor pentatonic, the C minor pentatonic, which is simply starting here on the 8th fret on the E string and doing the minor pentatonic shape. All the licks we're all familiar with. All right? So that's the box shape, we call it. Now basically that scale repeats itself right up the neck. All you got to do is reorder the notes, and there's a few patterns you can learn. I'm going to show you 3 today, because I think they're very closely related and they're not too hard, and I believe everybody who's been playing for a year or 2 can work this out. So the minor pentatonic is a stripped down version of the Aeolian mode, all right? So which is the natural minor scale. Pentatonic meaning 5, so that just picks the 5 main notes as opposed to the Aeolian mode gives us all of them, all 8. So we had the C minor pentatonic. If we wanted to, let's make it the Aeolian. Alright. Now there's one right next to it we can use. If we go, basically we move up here to the 10th fret, we can then play the Locrian mode. Here it is, off the D note, D Locrian. Right, D Locrian's also E flat major, it's also C Aeolian. All we're doing is revoicing the scale starting from a different note of the scale. Alright. So basically, we've got our Aeolian mode, and let's try and go down C Aeolian, and then we'll come back up D Locrian. Already there's enough notes there to try a little solo. That's what we'll do now, eh? I'll set a loop for the verse progression, and I'm going to play a little solo just using those 2 positions. Alright? Bearing in mind, there's going to be a weird sound in this F7 chord, but there are things you can do. Basically, you've got to play out a tune alongside it. But you'll see, you can have a look at what I do, and then we'll just go from there. All right, here we go. So basically every time that F7 came around, I sort of had to make sure that I was sitting on either a F note, an A natural note, or a C note, because otherwise it would get a clash going on. But you can experiment with that. You'll know what I mean if you listen closely. Because they've changed, they've used an outside note in the chord, then you've got to compensate when you solo. If I treated that as an F minor chord in my solo, it would sound pretty horrible there. All right, next bit. Now, for this part, I'm going to show you another part, another scale. So we've got the C Aeolian, the D Locrian. Now, below the C Aeolian, down here, it's called the Mixolydian mode, right? We do the Mixolydian mode off the 5th. So I've shown you, this is the 3rd mode I've shown you today. Don't be freaked out. It's all just the same major scale, just reordered. The Mixolydian mode starts from the 5th. So in this case, B flat, which is down here where it's C, B flat's here. Mixolydian mode like this. And then you guessed it, we're going to go down the Mixolydian, back up the C Aeolian, and then back down D Locrian. Sounds fancy, but it's all just E flat major and C minor. Here we go. Alright, lots of notes to play with. So this time I'm going to set a loop for the pre-chorus and do a little solo trying to utilize that B flat Mixolydian mode. Here we go. All right, very cool. And basically now I'm going to loop the chorus section and have a bit more fun. All right, here we go. Here's the chorus section. All right, cool. Quick recap. So, we looked at the song Shampoo Bottles by Peach Pit. We pulled the chords off the internet, put them in. What I did, I look at all the chords that there are and I look for the patterns to find out. I can quickly see now which key it's in because I've been doing this for so many years. But so I could see that these were the notes there, and I could see quite quickly it was an E flat major. So I wrote up the scale under the correct scale degree. We've looked at intervals, the space between notes, basically to reaffirm why these flats come into play at certain times, is to maintain this formula of intervals, pattern of intervals they call it. Try and memorize these intervals, how many semitones they are. Start trying to work out chords with, like I did at the beginning. Finding the notes on your guitar and, playing them together. A chord is simply a successive sounding of two or more notes at one time. Okay, we looked at our triads to build specific chords, majors or minors. And then we built a few chords. Then we came to our other right board and I wrote out the 3 progressions that are in the song. I know I haven't actually played or sang the song at all, but that doesn't matter. This is not what this is about. This is a music theory lesson. I'm trying to make it fun. And I believe it's very important for people to learn this stuff because there's a lot of really good guitar players out there that I've seen, and they can really shred and move their fingers, but sometimes when they just play, like, say, someone says, oh, it's an E, play an E, and then they rip an E minor, and it's like, it just sounds really bad. It's out of place because they just didn't know that E minor is so different to E major. All right, it's not their fault, but maybe it is. It is, I guess, if you didn't learn, it is your fault. I don't know, whatever. But, to say you don't have the attention span, that's just an excuse. Come on, have a go at it. It's not hard. If you'd like me to explain something differently or better, tell me, and I'll try. I used to be a school teacher, and I want to try and make this work. So, yeah, we had the 3 progressions, set them on the loop, demonstrated the use of the C Aeolian mode, the D Locrian, and the B flat Mixolydian, which is a very fancy way to say I can play E flat major from 3 different points on the guitar. All right? So, yes, a bit of memory, a bit of rote learning, but, what part of guitar isn't? I'd suggest put a metronome on, just play through the... Quite surprised. It won't take long, and then your fingers will be whipping all over the place. Anyway, that about wraps it up. Thank you for watching. If you've hung around to this point, leave a comment, subscribe. Let me know if there's a song that you like that you'd like me to analyse. This is really fun. I love doing this stuff. So yeah, let us know. Thank you very much.